Good morning, trail walkers. This week's video is not going to be a trail video because I happen to be going through my library and I noticed that I did an off the trails video last year and indicated that in the future I was going to do a video as to why I walk. And I said to myself, wait a minute, I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I just want to let you know this is going to be my little disclaimer. I might use a little bit of language that might not be appropriate for children. So if you have any kids in the room, you might want to tell them to leave because I'm about to get very, very adult here. It's a deep situation. Okay. Just to get started. I'm on my way to work this morning, so I'm outside. It's really windy. It's really breezy. So please pardon the breeze. But what originally started as a way for me to keep my weight down and to be healthy eventually saved my life. I'm going to say that again. What originally started out as a fitness regimen eventually saved my life. Once upon a time, I was addicted to opioids. I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder, acute anxiety disorder, which is treatable, which explained a lot in regards to my behavior in my childhood because I was always very shy. I was always afraid of people. I was always very emotional at times. As I got a little older, I used to hyperventilate when I heard or saw things that excited me. I had crying spells when I was a baby. I was definitely afraid of people and crowds and all those fears because of the time that I was brought up. There wasn't much attention paid to psychological diagnosis until I found out later on what the problem was. And I had to go through therapy and figure out, you know what, this is the reason why I was acting that way. And unfortunately, there's still that stigma out here in the world. People believe that once you've been diagnosed with a mental illness or a mental condition, because I don't want to say illness because it sounds so permanent. There are chronic conditions and there are acute conditions, and some of them are treatable. But some people actually believe that, once you get that you're just scarred for life, you're messed up, there's no recovery or anything like that. And it could be further for the truth. That's just a total lack of education on their part. But anyway, I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and I had a panic attack one day. This was back in 1994. And I had to go to the emergency room because I literally thought I was having a heart attack. And because of that, they diagnosed me. They went ahead and gave me a prescription for anti-anxiety medication. Well, I was going through a lot during that time. I was going through a divorce and not having a job and having to live with relatives and the whole 9 yards, just the whole pressure behind the whole thing. And because of that, I was looking for a means to escape anyway. That on top of the fact that, I didn't know who I was as a person. I didn't know who I was as a person. I didn't know what I wanted as a person. And, my daughter, she was a baby. My son wasn't born yet. And I had all this on me, and I was trying to figure out, what to do. I didn't know where to go or what to do. So, of course, lo and behold, here comes this medication that makes me feel really good. And unfortunately, when people are prescribed medications, they're given prescriptions for these types of, illnesses. And sometimes the doctors don't know what's going on in that person's mind. Because let me tell you something. This little 3 pounds up here, it's a motherfucker. It is. It can ruin you and it can save you. And there's a whole lot of power up here. I don't care what anybody tells you. There's a whole lot of power up here. So over time, I became addicted. After that prescription ran out, I loved the feeling so much. I wind up, getting something else and getting something else and getting something else, and eventually resorting to, street medication, street opioids. I never smoked any crack. I never smoked any marijuana. I never shot anything in my arm or anything like that. I just popped pills. And unfortunately, it made me make some decisions because I was out of my mind most of the time that would hurt my family. I destroyed my family behind it, unfortunately. And it took me a long time to get through that. Once I finally did get clean, which was some 15 years later, getting clean is the easy part. But tackling the demons as to why, that's the hard part. And a lot of people don't understand that. The first thing that they think is, once they have a loved one or they're going through a situation, all I got to do is get clean. Well, the thing is, if you haven't found out the reason why you picked up in the first place, what triggered this to do it, you're going to wind up going back to it. And that's why a lot of people keep relapsing and relapsing and relapsing, because they never address the reason why it happened in the first place. And I ruined a lot of relationships. Family, friends, people that I know. People to this very day don't even speak to me. And I've been clean since 2009. So what happened was, going back to the treatment, withdrawal is another reason why people relapse. The withdrawal is more painful. It's physically painful. Your body has adjusted to these substances in your system, and they thrive in order to live. And once you take that out of your system, take that out of your DNA, your body flips out. And a lot of people can't deal with the pain. I went through the sweats, and I went through the sleeplessness. I went through the stomach pain. Oh my gosh, the stomach pain was outrageous. Just to have to suffer through it because nobody was going to give me any medication. Go to the emergency room, all they do is give you some Tylenol. But that pain wouldn't go away. The headaches, oh my gosh, the headaches that I had. And the thing about it, this whole time, I was technically functional because I was still going to work. I was still going to work, still going to school, and I was still doing things, but it was like I was a little robot. So once I went through the period of withdrawal and made it through to the other side, it felt like a fog was lifted in my head because I started to be able to see things differently, started to see life differently. And what happens is I was able to, get involved in NA and AA. I highly recommend those organizations because what happens is you're in a room with a whole bunch of people who are going through the same shit you're going through. You hear them tell their story and they're like, wow, they're telling my story. And sometimes it's good to have people around you that aren't so close to you to show you who you are in order for you to really get the message. And when I started going to the meetings and listening to these stories, I'm like, wow, I'm not the only one. And I'm not saying that that I felt good about these people suffering, don't get me wrong, but I was relieved at the fact that I wasn't the only one suffering. See, this pity party that I had all these years thinking that, oh, woe is me, I'm the only one, nobody feels what I feel, I was wrong. And that gave me the strength to move on because I was like, wow, this person understands. Why do you think in so many rehab centers they have people who are former addicts? There is no way that somebody who has never been an addict to turn around and treat an addict because you have to go through it. There's some shit in life that you got to go through in order to understand. It doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter how many Bibles, Torahs, Qurans, whatever you want to read, whatever scripture you want to read. Sometimes the only way that you're going to know how somebody else is feeling what you're feeling is you got to go through the bullshit yourself. So what happens in recovery is that they try to teach you to help develop a sense of self and help you to focus your energies on something else instead of thinking of the drug. That could be art, that could be music, that could be, exercise. And, I'd already been involved in walking before, but I did find myself whenever I had the urge or started to feel anxious for any reason, I would go take a walk. So I said to myself, okay, this is pretty good because what happens is when you walk, oxygen goes to the brain. And it helps feed the cells. And that fresh air gets in your lungs. And by the time you finish doing that walk, be it 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, you start to feel a little bit better because you're feeding your cells. You're oxygenating your cells so they can function better. You can sleep better. You can relax better. You can think more clearly. So it wasn't just a physical thing for me, it became a spiritual thing. And doing those walks over a period of time eventually kept me sober. Because there were times where I didn't tell anybody, where I'd be like, you know what, I'm in here, I'm starting, those demons are in your mind, they're telling you all these crazy things, and it's like, okay, I gotta have something. Or you can come across a situation that's difficult, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I need some relief. I need to turn up. I need to do that. No. I get up and take a walk. So I just wanted to share that with you because I was hoping that maybe it would help. For those of you who are going through it, I know how it feels. And if you want to reach out to me sometime and just talk, that'll be fine. You know, my email is peachypathfinder@gmail.com. Or, you know, you can just put a link in the comments and start a dialogue. Because we are in some tough times right now, and I know for a fact that there are people who have never picked up before that probably are picking up because they're going through something and they don't have the coping skills. And I'm not downing you for that because I was there. But a lot of us weren't taught how to deal with certain situations because the people who were supposed to teach us, they probably never been through it. So I don't fault them. So the thing is I just wanted to let you know the reason why I started walking. I can go into detail later on in another video if you like, as far as the journey is concerned. I'll be glad to do that. Let me know in the comments if you're interested. But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there, and I just kind of hope that that helps somebody understand why I am so adamant and why I'm so energetic and enthusiastic about walking. It's a way of life for me, and it's a part of me maintaining my spirituality. So with that, I give you peace and love. Thanks so much for joining me today, but the trail is not over because your final step is to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for new videos every Monday. And remember, the next walking adventure is closer to you than you think. See you next time.